So we are here again. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and share the video to as many farmers as you can. So we have visited Madam Elizabeth. She's a teacher. I've had a keen look at her farm, and before even she takes me around, I want to advise you on some of the challenges you're encountering and also some of the shortcomings that are on your farm that maybe you might not have been able to see. You talked about cannibalism as your main challenge. Now, check on my YouTube channel. I will share with you the link, and I've shared it above on a video I did while in Mogadishu on cannibalism. What are the causes of cannibalism and how you can control cannibalism? But I'm just going to highlight it very fast for you. Cannibalism is mostly when the chicken eat each other. Actually, that's a layman's language, but the correct word is when they peck each other and then they start bleeding, and even they can peck each other until the other bird dies. Now, the main problem and the main cause of cannibalism is actually shortage of fiber in the feed. When you have cannibalism, it means that you don't have enough fiber in your feed, or you are not giving the bird enough feed. When you give the bird a little amount of feed, unlike the required ration in the daily requirement, the bird's crop will be empty. When the bird's crop is empty, the bird then tends to peck each other. It eats each other, bringing in about cannibalism. That's the reason why I tell you, when you have a shortage of fiber in the feed, cannibalism automatically comes, because when the chicken eats feed that has less fiber, it's like eating a biscuit. Digestion is so fast and the feed does not get maintained in the crop. The crop is empty and the bird feels hungry very fast. But when the bird has enough, the feed has enough fiber, the digestion is slowed. And when the digestion is slowed, the bird tends to be, when you're satisfied, when your stomach is full, you're comfortable. That's when now you can control cannibalism. Today we have chicken that come from hatcheries when they're already debeaked. So when you're buying your day-old chicks, always buy chicks that are debeaked. Ask them, are the chicks debeaked? Well, when the chick comes, you will see the beak is complete. So you might not be able to say, you wonder, how will you debeak a day-old chick? Debeaking is done using infrared rays at the hatchery. So as the chick keeps growing, the beak will automatically break and fall down, the front part. So now you'll have it debeaked. When you debeak a bird, the bird gets a lot of stress and it reduces egg production. That's why it's advisable you do it in the hatchery. So buy chicks that are already debeaked. When you're giving your chicks feed, give them enough feed or the sufficient ration. If the feed is sufficient and you still have cannibalism, try to increase the amount of fiber. Go and buy the thing we call pumba, or we call it chenga chenga. Mix with your feed and just supplement to the chicken. You will cure cannibalism. And when cannibalism is extreme, you introduce greens. You take the sukuma wiki or the kales, you tie them on a rope and you suspend them, like on this wire. You can tie kales here and you suspend them somewhere a bit high, so that the chicken keep jumping to peck the kales. Then they become busy and occupied. They don't eat each peck one another. Also, the kales are rich in fiber, so it fills the crop. So next time, you will not have that challenge of cannibalism. You get it right? Yeah. Number 2, egg eating. What is the main cause of egg eating? There are 2 main reasons for egg eating. Number 1 is your laying boxes. When I look at your laying boxes, I can say they are good because they are hidden. It's dark inside. Yeah. But when you find that it's still dark, anyway, the laying boxes have to face away from light and they have to have a curtain, because birds will tend to lay where it's darker. Yeah. So when they lay where it's darker, they don't see the eggs and they don't play about with the eggs, because in the course of playing with the eggs, the egg cracks and the chicken consumes the egg.
Yeah.
So once it consumes the egg, then it discovers, oh, there's something new here.
Yeah.
So once you have good laying boxes, but you still have egg eating, then you ask yourself, where is this challenge coming from? The challenge will come from now timings of picking the eggs. At times you delay to pick your eggs. When you delay to pick your eggs twice or thrice, the chicken come in contact with the eggs frequently. That's when you have that chance of egg eating. Have your person working collect eggs frequently. You'll attempt to understand that the oviposition, or rather laying, mostly takes place between 9 a.m. and 12 midday. So at this time, you need to be very vigilant. Collect your eggs frequently because you're doing depleter. All right? Now, those are your main challenges. Cannibalism and egg eating. I want to advise you also on what I've seen. When I look at your litter, it is so much soiled. You see, I can't even get the flow. You see? That's also a big problem. When you bring litter to the birds, always ensure that the litter is at least 6 centimeters thick. Always do something called raking. Every morning, come with a rake or just using your boots and try to rake the litter. Mix up the litter, all right? This one prevents the litter from caking. Caking is forming something like you can tend to think like there's a spillage, you know? The main problem of litter that looks like yours are 3. Number 1, you'll find that egg production is decreasing. Why? Because of high ammonia buildup. When this litter is caked and the sun is hot, the gases come from it. Ammonia gases. When you get the ammonia gases, even you yourself, you'll sneeze. And when you sneeze, it means it's not comfortable. The birds develop something called CRD, chronic respiratory disease, because of accumulation of ammonia. This one automatically introduces stress. Once the bird is stressed, expect a decline in production. But feed intake is constant, because feed intake is directly related to age. So if you're spending more in feed, but production is reducing, as a farmer, it's a loss. So ensure that you change your litter frequently, because when you have a thicker layer of litter and you keep raking, the litter can stay until the flock is at menopause or it's old. But if you have a thinner layer of litter, it gets soiled every other time, and that is not good. All right? Another thing I would like to advise you is on the drinkers. You'll find that if these are your drinkers, the probability of you getting a disease also, like coccidiosis, is very high. It's only that coccidia cannot be shown by external signs in a bird that is mature, above 4 months. But the stress induced by coccidia is very high and likely to reduce your production. Okay? And coccidia is brought about by water spillages. I'm assuming you have used a multivitamin to give your birds. When it's spilled, you are wasting the drug. I'm assuming you want to give the chicken vaccines using this drinker. When you use this drinker to give the vaccine automatically spread in the environment. Now, because you have vaccinated your birds, they might not be infected, but the virus will be hosted in the structure, or rather it will spread to other farms, and that is also not being fair to your others, right? Yeah. So get the right drinker, and then you suspend the drinker to be in line with the back of the bird, the neck of the bird, so that when the chicken drink the water, you will never have a spillage. All right? That is very important. When we just came in with you, I found that your curtains, your window curtains, were dropped. Now, you have to understand that your bird, your structure is single grilled. It has got one face of the grill, unlike others which have got a grill on this side and a grill on the other side. Now, because your structure has got one grill, every morning roll up the curtain for free flow of air, and in the evening when you're rolling down the curtain, you don't roll it down completely. You roll it halfway. Don't feel like, oh, my chicken, it's very cold. No, this is a bird. It can stay in the wilderness. It can be rained on. But when you do that way, you're giving it fresh air, even in the night. All right? Lastly, I wanted to introduce something called routers and patches. You know them? You will make some things like a ladder, an S-shaped ladder, and then you introduce them here, just like 2 meters and then 2 meters, so that the chicken can perch. So when the chicken perch on them, they get some rest. They droop very well, digestion takes place so well, and then you'll have that good environment. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Yeah, always wash your your drinkers every morning. I'd advise you that feed your birds twice a day. Take the feed that you have. I hope you know the feed requirements with the age, and I always share with every farmer. When I visit him, I always share with him that chart. You don't just give chicken feed. They are chicks, you give them 45 grams. They are growers, you give them 60. They are laying, you give them 90. You'll be losing. Okay? A chicken has got a feed ration depending on its age. If it's 1 week, there's a certain amount of feed that you'll give it. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that is the only way you can be able to make a profit. We will share with you that so that you can always maintain that. Now, let's assume they're supposed to eat 90 grams per day. You give them a third of that feed in the morning, and then the remaining you give it in the evening. So if they're supposed to eat 90 grams, then you'll give them in the morning 60 grams. And then at 2 or 3 or 4, when the sun is going down, you give them the remaining 30 grams. You get my point very well?
I get it very well.
I hope you've learned something.
I've learned a lot.
And I just realized my host is not paying much attention to biosecurity. Biosecurity is very important. Please, I want you to make a foot bath. If not making a foot bath, just buy a basin. Dig a hole at the door. Fix that basin there. All right?
Yeah.
Always put there water and a disinfectant. Never allow anybody, and even yourself, never allow yourself to come to the house, the flock house, without gumboots and without protective gear. Just buy an overall or you buy a dust coat, and you must maintain the color. If it's blue, it's blue. Don't change to red or white. The chicken will be exactly. I'm happy. Please do that. And we shall buy Madam Elizabeth a pair of gumboots, so that every time she comes to the farm and she sees the gumboots, she remembers our biosecurity measures.
Thank you very much.
And thank you too for hosting us. We hope you have learned something.
I've learned a lot.
And keep watching our channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are also many other videos you will watch, and also you can learn. You will have our number. You'll have our email. Whenever you get a challenge, always call us, always email us, and we'll help you, give it back to you free of charge.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell them.
Subscribe to
our YouTube
channel, and
Thank
we
you.
learn a lot.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.